So the title of the talk is Continuous Deployment to the Cloud. So what do I know about that? So as I said, AppHarbor is a .NET platform as a service. So do any of you know Heroku at all? So it's like a really superb Ruby on Rails cloud platform that makes it incredibly easy to deploy Ruby on Rails applications. AppHarbor does exactly the same thing, just for .NET applications. So we've already helped some 8,500 developers deploy around 4,000 .NET applications, and they use AppHarbor to continuously deploy new versions of their code on our platform. Also, the AppHarbor platform itself runs on top of AppHarbor, and we continuously deploy new versions of AppHarbor all the time. Even though we're just a few guys in a small office somewhere, we deploy new versions of AppHarbor often many times a day. Right. So the demo I'm going to give today is I'm going to be using Git, the version control system, and I'm going to be deploying to AppHarbor. I just want to say that there's plenty of other options to achieve the exact same effect. So, I mean, if you're a Ruby on Rails developer, you can use Heroku, or you can use Azure if you want, even though it's not going to be very continuous or agile because it takes a while to deploy new versions to Windows Azure. Or you can even set up your own continuous deployment setup. So if I can get Chrome going again. Sounds like Chrome. Here we go. So here's a guy who uses a Team CD setup to like push code using Git. And then he has his Team CD server deploy successful builds of his applications to his own server. Here we go. So I mean, he says he's mimicking what AppHarbor does, and you can do that if you like AppHarbor, but you don't want to use our platform. You can definitely do this. There's also a guy called Paul Stoll, who's building a product called Octopus Deploy, which again does what AppHarbor does, only you get to deploy to servers you manage yourself instead of servers that we manage. So just to say that I'm going to be showing using AppHarbor today, but you can definitely do it on your own if that's what you want. Right. Yeah. So I'm just going to show. I'm going to close down Steam because I'm not going to be playing computer games right now. I'm just going to try and show what continuously deploying something feels like. So I'll deploy a application to AppHarbor. And this is going to be slightly slower because my setup is so screwed. So first I'll have to create my AppHarbor application. I'll go and do that. I'll call it GoTo. And now I have an application ready on AppHarbor. And AppHarbor tells me what I need to do to deploy a new version. And even if I'm retarded, there's a video I can watch narrated by me. And I sound even more retarded. Right. Okay, so I have a application here, and it's basically a very simple ASP.NET MVC application which lets you upload images, and it'll send an email just to demo something. Let's see. All right, so I'll just run it locally. Everything works. So my machine's kind of slow because it just rebooted. Anyway, I'll go set up the repository in the meanwhile. So I'm using Git today. You can also deploy to AppHarbor using Subversion or Mercurial or Team Foundation Server, even if that's your preference. So that's the repository created. So this is the application running locally. So I can upload an image if I want. So this goes this, and that's it. That's what the application does. So now I'll push it to AppHarbor. So I just need to make my local Git repository aware that there's now a AppHarbor Git repository. Then I can push to AppHarbor. And we feel that this, so as you can see, like because you use your version control system to push to production, like the job of deploying a new version of your code is exactly the same as you would use to check in code when you collaborate with your colleagues at the end of the day. That makes that deployment experience continuous. So it's not, it's not something you have to change the way you think and start copying files around. You just do whatever you do, usually at the end of the day when you collaborate with colleagues, to push new versions of your code to production. So if I go refresh this page on AppHarbor, you can see AppHarbor has now received this build. And 10 seconds after it received the build, it had built the code. And there's no unit tests in here, but if there were, the unit test would have been run and the code is now deployed. And I can go visit the page, and this is now live on the internet. So if any of you have laptops open, you can go to goto.lhb.com to upload files. So now I kind of wanted to do, so yeah, it uses local file system access. Anyway, now I would have wanted to show you how to do automatic configuration of stuff like email services, but I'm wildly over time due to my laptop having to reboot, so I will not do that. Just to say that if you provision services on AppHarbor, so say stuff like sending emails, you can have your application configured to send emails to a local server when you're debugging and running the application on your local machine, while on AppHarbor will automatically inject the necessary configurations for you to use an external email service that then sends emails for your production application. And that's a kind of automatic configuration that you want for you to be able to be comfortable deploying all the time. You don't want to be thinking, okay, now I have to deploy, and then once the code's running in the server, I have to go fidget with this configuration file to make it work properly in production. And this sort of automatic configuration is also something that AppHarbor does automatically. Right. So, what does doing continuous integration or continuous deployment to the cloud do for you? It makes deployments simple and easy, so you can do them all the time, instead of deployment being something you do every week or every 2 weeks, and it being like a giant headache where you get home late from work. You can just do it multiple times a day, which makes it much more gratifying to be a developer, because you can get a request from a user, go fix it in the code base, and then have the confidence in your deployment infrastructure to immediately push that change and get good feedback from the user who now does not have this problem anymore. Also, because you're running in the cloud, you'll get easy scaling, and you'll get access to lots of great third-party services that are offered in the cloud. So I'll just show you some from the AppHarbor add-on as well. So you get like stuff like MongoHQ, Redis to Go, SendGrid I just added yesterday actually. So we're pretty excited about that. That's a superb email sending service or databases. That's what we want. Righty. Yeah, so do you have any questions?
How do you handle redeploys?
Redeploys?
Redeploys.
So, do you mean if that's a new version?
Yeah, I mean if I'm pushing a change and the app is up and running.
Right. So we run on top of Windows servers in IIS. Basically, we'll create a new folder and place the new version of your code there, and then we'll just tell IIS to serve content out of the stuff that's in the new folder instead of the old one. Does that answer your question?
I think yes.
Cool.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
What happens you redeploy
requests, the way IIS works is that any request currently being processed will not get kicked. So those will still be serviced to the client. But I think currently we're kind of abrupt about the changeover, and there's some stuff we can do to make that more smooth, to avoid disruptions for our clients.
How does one mitigate the possibility of a user getting into the corrupt state? So, for instance, that if a user is in a different type dialogue or something, multiple pages, stuff like that, and he's in the process, and then I put a new version, and then he hits the next button, and then the search new page which is from the next version, which is
superb question. So the question is, what happens like for application state? What happens with application state when we deploy a new version? And what we tell our users to do is to stick all this session state in memcached. So there's actually a memcached provider for the ASP.NET Stack, which means that all this state stuff and also sessions is not stored in instance memory, but instead gets served out of memcached, which also makes it much better for if you have multiple instances, so that you don't have to worry about syncing this sort of state between multiple instances serving this side. Does that answer the question? Cool.
What degree of surveillance do you have of these platform as a service? The applications and all services that are you as a platform provider responsible for making sure that the instances are?
So we cannot, if the user or if our users upload bad code, then we consider that their problem. But we make sure that our instances run, and if we have an instance failure from Amazon, for example, we'll make sure to, if the user runs on multiple instances, which is a possibility, we'll fail over so that only the good instances are used. But if they're running just one instance, we'll move to a new. There'll be some downtime due to the instance failure, but we'll move to a fresh instance.
You also support the load balancing?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we run a Nginx-based load balancer in front of the instances, so that you can have your application running on as many instances as you want, and we'll load balance between those. Cool. Thanks.